Behold, the Copion. Though not particularly prized for its intelligence, what it lacks in brains, it makes up for by being incredibly, well, horny. A commodity highly sought after by hunters and poachers alike. Fortunately, for our Copion, that is, this usually results in a free meal.
Not the face!
Why'd you bring this rookie?
Foundation Festival. Tradition. How do I go? Foundation Festival. Tradition.
Why'd you bring this rookie?
Foundation Festival. Tradition. How do I go? Foundation Festival.
Why'd you bring this rookie?
Foundation Festival. Tradition.
吸金会节。
How do I go prone? Which button? Shh, press Z.
No control.
I pressed everything. It's not working.
Get down!
I pressed everything. How do I go prone? Which button? Shh, press Z.
No control.
I pressed everything. It's not working.
Get
不行，这个太好笑了。
I pressed everything. It's not working.
get down!
Shh, press Z.
No control.
I pressed everything. It's not working.
Get down!
Guys, which button do I press to get up? Which button do I press to get up?
Alt F4.
好讨厌死。还有吗？
It's as Meet Steve. It's his first day on the job after passing his Atlas operator certification. This is Edwards. After 36 years of a successful cargo foreman career, he's ready to retire. And this is Bob, your everyday hauler. Bob doesn't give a shit. Bob is too busy reading a funny post online. ，Reading a funny your everyday career, he's ready to retire. Bob is too busy reading a funny post online.
我就这样多看几遍。我表示他什么都不管。
Online. Bob doesn't give a shit. Bob is too busy reading a funny post online.
他翅膀是不是掉了？哎，对，他翅膀掉一根哎，还掉一根翅膀，什么时候掉的啊？
See reading a funny post online.
哇，很早就掉一根哎。
there. Hi there, I'm Scooter Lee Scooter from the beautiful Brio's Breaker Yard on Damer. Now, some people think Brio's is still a rough and tumble kind of place, but that just ain't true, Bo. Brio's is a safe environment with fun for the whole family.
因为是个安全的环境。
We use spaceships. We also do ship repairs, ship
他说的很正确，因为很和平啊，没错啊。
Brio's is still a from the beautiful Brio's Breaker Yard on Damer. Now, some people think Brio's is still a rough and tumble kind of place, but that just ain't true, Bo.
但事实就不是了，就是一个很安全的地方哦。
whole family. And we don't just sell generally used
哇，他
spaceships.
说的好对
We
啊。
also do ship repairs, ship detailing, and ship paints.
我们还做那个货物交易呢。
So when you need your next ship upgrade, you come on down and you tell Scooter Scooter sent you. Y'all have a good evening.
这是你的故事吧？哎，他是卖船，我是卖货，不一样。看，他都说他们是那个卖船嘛，
Even weapon
船
swaps.
还有
So
武
when you
器
need
之
your
类
next ship
的。
upgrade,
我们
you
是
come
卖货
on
物。
down and you tell Scooter Scooter sent you.
You won't know I'm here.
这什么？
You won't know I'm here. Silence, crawling through the shadows. I don't care why. I finished the job.
这到底怎么拍的？
This makes you weak, makes you blind. No pain, no fear. Just a cold breath on your neck. When the light comes back, you're already gone.
这应该是玩家拍的吧？这在怎么拍？还有吗？哎，还有。还蛮多小片段呢。这海漏蛇是不是？好熟悉的哦，这个场景好熟悉哦。等一下，这是什么鬼啊？我看了什么？原来我们都是这样打架的吗？可怜的 C2， 那跟电梯有关哎。哇，还做动画哦，这么厉害 ！Any Cat， 当然中国那边的对吧？那个电梯好惨啊！好，这是什么？这个很难丢吧？如果在游戏里的话，我游戏里以前很猛，我就知道。
One day.
啊，好像没了。
Citizens' history. We have finally moved past the question of whether we can build an architecture to deliver a universe with incredible detail at massive scale, seamlessly and where thousands of people can all play together. Server meshing has been working pretty much flawlessly at scale for the past 9 months. It has brought a more populated and active verse with up to 700 players online and in the same space at once. It's greatly increased server performance and delivered a much more responsive player
700
experience.
人哦
I couldn't be prouder of the team. They delivered something no other online game does presently. There may be other games out there that claim large player counts, or even the ability to mesh, but none do it at our detail, scale, and seamlessness. Of course, there will be continued improvements to server meshing and to Star Engine, but having moved past this last big technological hurdle has allowed us to finally focus on quality of life and stability improvements, something that has long been overdue. We're about to deliver our 9th patch in 10 months, with content that has brought Star Citizen storytelling into new and exciting focus on quality of life and stability improvements, something that has long been overdue. We're about to deliver our 9th patch in 10 months, with content that has brought Star Citizen storytelling into new and exciting directions. We pushed more than 2 dozen features and more than 2,000 bug fixes. And while there is still a long way to go, the game has gotten more stable, performant, and fun as a result. We see this in player metrics. More of you play every day, so more people venture out into 45% from last year, and your play time is up 15%. So more people venture out into the verse and stay there longer than ever before. And through all that, we've told the dual stories of the frontier fighters assault on Pyro, and the moral compromises being made to combat the regen crisis. Now, as those stories come to a rest for the time being, it's time to look forward to the next chapter of Star Citizen, where the instability in Pyro and the callous actions of some pave the way to new adventures, new locations, and new threats. Last year, we announced our next star system would be Nyx, home to the People's Alliance of Levski and bordering the Vandal threat. Today, we're proud to share that your adventures in Nyx begin not next year, but next month. To share to the People's Alliance of Levski and bordering the Vandal threat. Today, we're proud to share that your adventures in Nyx begin not next year, but next month, when Star Citizen's 3rd system comes online in Alpha 4.4. 2 new systems in 1 year. That's only possible because of the tireless work of our development teams, server meshing accelerating what's possible, the support teams behind the scenes, and most importantly, all of you. Now I do miss that we're not all together under one roof this year, but in many ways, we're more connected than ever. Across the globe, many of you are gathering at watch parties, 9 of them with our developers in attendance, and countless others springing up in communities everywhere, and all happening simultaneously today. So even if we're separated by oceans and continents, we're bound together by the same passion for space, for discovery, and for this incredible universe we're building together. Whether you're at home or alongside your crew at a watch party, grab a drink, sit back, and let us take you inside our up-and-coming
Nyx。好，我们现在就来快转一下。
Game is no verse zone, added back to the verse, while also bringing you one of its most iconic landmarks, the Glacian Belt. Here, you'll experience a new combined arms operation that will introduce new factions and new adventures for you to discover. With this edition of our 3rd star system, we're also going to do something that's at the heart of the entire Star Citizen experience, and that is to build it right in front of you. As we have done this year, with the addition of several major locations, such as the Hathor facility or the Lazarus complex, we will continue to unveil new Nyx content throughout the year. It's a slightly different approach to how we deliver Pyro, but we feel this gets the content into your hands sooner and shows our intent as we continue our march towards 1.0. I'm so incredibly proud of the work our teams have done and are continuing to do, and we're excited to have you on this next step of our journey. And as with any journey in Star Citizen, that begins with a little story.
Introduced 2 major features across the universe, multiple patches, creating a living backbone for adventure across the universe. The first was Pyro Must Burn. It connected Stanton to Pyro and introduced the Frontier Fighters, who are relentless, brutal, and find you uphold forgotten onyx Arkham Mela of the Hokro Age system, Science Run Amok is now setting the stage for Nyx, the next step in the larger story we're telling on the road to 1.0. As this new chapter of StarCitizen begins, let's hear from just a few of the team members working to bring this next era of our universe to life.
哦，终于，我就是想要看这个 Nyx 的画面。
When the Nyx system was first discovered, the United Empire of Earth, the UAE, came out and did scans and kind of found out that the system wasn't really set up. I mean, the planets were too hard to terraform, the resources were too tough to get, so they opened it up.
哦，这地方好帅哦。
And one company saw opportunity where the UE didn't, QV Planet Services. And so they expanded into the system and tried to mine as much as they could, making a very slim margin by the sheer quantity of resources they were pulling out.
那些都小换船吧，对吧？对，看起来都小换船。
The system itself sort of ran its course from sort of a large corporate interest perspective, and then was mostly left abandoned.
Now this ended up being the ideal situation for the People's Alliance, who were a group of revolutionaries who were trying to overthrow the dictatorship of the Messer regime that was going on in the Empire at the time.
So they went to the Nyx system and established what became known as Lesbian. They wanted to make it everything that the UEE wasn't at this time.
你们好死不死，为什么一定要偏
Set
偏
up
需要
what
钱在
they
有北
saw
这个
as
地
their
方？
ideal society, where everyone's voices would be
他
heard,
们
where
也是在
everyone
盖
would be
这个
equal.
地方的那个过程哎。
But they've fallen onto hard times.
还分期耶。
So Nyx today is kind of at an interesting point in its history. Now that the UEE has kind of transformed itself into a democratic society, what is their role? What are the People's Alliance rebelling against? And they still see the Empire as being inherently unfair. They see their role as still trying to create a free and fair society. But on the other hand, they have more problems than ever, and there's new threats lurking around every corner. And they have to ask, are they prepared to handle that? Or do they need to turn to the UEE for help?
反正就不像那个拍友那边有那个什么 Frontier Fighter。
Making a star system is you approach it from kind of two angles in a weird way. What is this system bringing to the gallery? How does this new system plug into it, and what does it bring to the table from a sort of a flavor experience? We want to make sure that whatever it's bringing to the company is unique and has some flair to it.
Oh.
So the Nyx system is a remote system where people want to go and live free outside of the pressure and influence system where people want to go and
旁边还有线，很像有一条线，不知道是什么。
live free outside of the pressure and influence of the UEE. It's a remote and rugged system with a lot of hostility coming from the ever-present threat of Vandal.
It's kind of like a frontier-esque thing. It's not lawless like Pyro, it's just kind of out there. Pyro's more like a Mad Max wasteland, and Nyx is more like Silverado or like Deadwood, right? It's kind of like a smaller scope.
The emptiness and the loneliness is the defining factor. You're still going to find gangs, you're still going to find hostile presences, but it's where people go if they want to live off the grid.
The People's Alliance is the main peacekeeping force in Nyx.
They were unhappy with the direction that the Empire was going under the Messers. They got out. They said, we're just going to start from scratch, build our own society, but build it the way that we think it needs to be built.
They're not perfect. They're just people, but they're doing their best. They want to help keep Nyx safe and make it prosper.
They are trying to do the best that they can, but are faced with the realities of dealing with people, which is tricky.
The Pyro Star is quite a warm star. Stanton Star is quite neutral. And the Nyx is a little bit cooler. The system has its star, and it has this dark, really, really dense gas sort of nebulous cloud. And it has points of light scattered around it, and those points of light in this gas cloud is really, really hazy.
Nix
So
啊，就
because
偏暗色。
Nix is bordering Vandal space, it was important that we have a gap in the Nix gas cloud where you could sort of just, in between the clouds, see a piece of the Vandal space. It feels so close that it's even like protruding some red light. The level designers are using it as an actual visual indicator of where to place more dangerous POIs. So if you point your ship in the direction of it, you should find, as we build it out, that you will be in more and more danger. And I think that's really cool.
以后如果想玩那种打外星人的那种体感的话，
To
就
give
跑去这边
more
玩。
atmosphere, I was testing out
开个一整个舰
adding
就进
some
去
sort
玩
of
沙本
space
都。
snowflakes, essentially. So when you look towards the sun, you can sort of see that sort of like sparkle. But then when you look away from the sun, you'll see the reflections and sort of like little glints of light. For the jump points in Nyx, we'll have 2 on this release. We'll have 1 from Pyro to Nyx and 1 from Stanton to this release. We'll have 1 from Pyro to Nyx and 1 from Stanton to Nyx. It should be going from Nyx to Castra, but we're essentially bypassing Castra temporarily.
Hey, we want to make sure you can get there any way you want.
我们 Pyro 也可以去 Nyx， 然后
Glacian
它有没有
Belt
像
is
Karasa？
a huge asteroid belt that is in sort of the middle of the system.
The Glacian Belt is a combination of a bunch of technologies that we already have. The asteroid fields we use for planetary rings and the gas clouds, and it's combining them to make something completely new that we've just not seen before.
It's full of resources that are still left unharvested because it's kind of a tricky spot for mining. It's not the easiest place to go, but that means that there's still a lot of opportunity for independence. It's not the easiest place to go, but that means that there's still a lot of opportunity for independent miners to go out there.
So a bit more sharp, like sorts of like icy look, rocky, cliff-like. Very different from those in the Pyro and the Stanton. One of the big differences too is all of that extra added movement that just adds a little bit of extra flair.
It's also a good hiding spot for people who are trying to elude capture, maybe set up ambushes, that type of stuff.
Always feel way more interesting flying in those spaces than just, you know, through empty void.
And as we build out the Glacian Belt over the next year, lots of places to put new content.
Delamar is a very large asteroid in the Glacian Belt that QV Planet Services had built a mining base on that got taken over by the People's Alliance and renamed Levski.
Levski is our first and biggest social outpost for Nyx.
It's kind of like the place where you stop before you do your.
这克拉克怎么是开了起落架啦？
the place
不是，这看是开着起落架在飞耶！下一句，
First and biggest social outpost for Nyx.
It's kind of like the place where you stop before you do your pan. So it's kind of a San Francisco before you got to the Gold Rush.
It's going to be the central hub for trade and hauling, and it's going to be the central hub for trade and hauling and all of the commerce within Nyx and also from Nyx to other systems. But it does have a CD underlayer to it.
Over the years, you're sort of improving the generation method of those asteroids to culminate towards this specific point to make large, explorable location. When you fly towards the Levski, you see this huge gas ring around it. It's scattered small, mid-sized pieces of the asteroids.
Well, Levski is immediately apparently unique by the fact that it's a facility clamped onto the side of an asteroid. The breathtaking views of looking into the belt instantly gives it a unique charm and flavor.
As you approach, you'll initially see a very dramatic borehole that goes all the way through the asteroid. You'll also see growing out from there.
今年没有海妖啊，倒是看到后
Levski, there will be
Reclaimer
landing pads along what I'd call the spine.
哦，也有机库。哎，等等
，landing pads along
那个大小应该可以请 extra large 吗？我看到 recam 都停在那
the
边。
spine. Lots of industrial pipes and transport systems to bring out the refined mining materials when it
我靠！我好像没怎么看过有游泳滑轨载货柜。
A mining station.
Before we were using an actual planet, so we had all of the space available to place all of these structures. But now it kind of meant that we had to create an asteroid which has the appropriate size to.
我这个旅客怎么一直出来啊
？Of the asteroid, you
怎么一直出来
see
偷藏什么床啊？目前
the whole shot of the asteroid, you will see that there is an area to fly underneath. We plan on bringing in whole sea gameplay, so this is exterior cargo elevators. So as a team, you will be able to load and unload cargo.
There's a lot more movement on the exterior, such as the cargo trains going around tracks. It's now going to be fully EVA-able. There will be walkways around the main landing zone to walk on using gravity plates, but you can drift off and kind of go wherever you want. They can explore fully the whole place, which is great.
我感觉这边蛮和平的，而且感觉很干净，比拍罗比起来很干净。
Unlike the majority of anarchists living in Pyro, there are people here in Nyx that care. It's not a downtrodden or derelict, dilapidated location. It has a sense of order.
But only where the People's Alliance has people living.
We've had Livsky before, and we've updated it quite substantially to be more in line with the newer features that have been put in since, but also visually. And there's been a lot of quality of life fixes that we've wanted to add and bring up to like a good standard for a landing zone.
Gracing the main lobby of Levski is a large statue of Anthony Tanaka, who was a child worker.
And was being worked to death, all of them were. And Anthony Tanaka just had a break and just said no, and stood up against the foremen, the supervisors, the managers, the guards, and was killed for it. And so he became a sort of a figurehead.
And kind of was one of the linchpin moments in seeing the fall of the Messer regime.
So if you take the elevator up to the top deck, you'll see the top view and the cargo area as well. So
有点像赫斯顿那一种的。
You've got your normal kind of cargo needs.
对啊，它被那个过劳
ability to trade.
看这种风格就很 Hurston 感觉，只是比较干净的 Hurston。
So if you were to die in the Nyx system, then one of the places you might come out from is the hospital in Levski.
哎，左下角那个是不是过劳死了？他抬那边。
So Mercy Hospital is just basically it's a local med station for all the residents of Levski, anybody traveling through the system.
对啊，我不会虐待你们哦。
Again, they're trying to provide as good medical help for people as they can.
When you arrive at the hab's location, you'll be presented with a lobby, elevator bank, and then you will take that to the hab room.
老鼠怎么什么地方都有啊
So within that room will be pods.
And that's where the
我觉得这个真的比拍裸干净多了，说真的。
They're not the nicest, and they're a bit messy, but they're a home for people in Levski. If you head down to the lower view deck, you'll go through into the Grand Barter, which is your main social and commercial area.
This is where you will see market sellers selling their wares.
他们之前拍裸都出新食物，那没意外，这个应该会新食物。
And that includes things like Corderies, which is your armor shop, and also conscientious objects, which is for weapons. There's also one of my favorite places, Cafe Musée, which is where you can go down into some of the more rocky depths and grab yourself a drink, and you never know who you meet down there. If you explore a bit more around the Grand Barter, there's other routes around and little side passages.
应该不会有虫。
There's another shop that's away from that area called Teachers.
Teacher's Ship Shop is basically where you would go if you were looking to pick up a used ship, buy some ship parts, fix up your old ship, find some new stuff.
对，不知道这个 Nix 比较卖什么？卖美
We've
多肉
closed
吗
up Dumpers Depot for Levski, and everything that used to be sold there will now be sold at Teachers.
我看一下桌子上的灯。
Teachers explore, into some of the more rocky depths and grab yourself a drink and. We've closed up Dumpers Depot for Levski, and everything that used to be sold there will now be sold at Teachers. Another new area, as well as the cargo shop that we've added, is the refinery deck for Levski. That's where you can take your processed goods, not just from Levski, but from the rest of the Nix system, and refine and sell those goods there. As a lot of the content in the next coming releases for Nix is going to be mining related. So it's super important that releases for Nix is going to be mining related.
我突然觉得今年是东西要出 Star 了。他说 Nix 都是偏以采矿为主的，那今年出那一台 RSI 的矿床很合理吧？
Important that Levski is a really nice hub for mining type of gameplay.
算是目前一出就是目前大的一台。
So we're really happy to bring Levski back into the game. It's been gone for quite a few years now.
I think it really provided a unique.
不是，所以为什么呢？克拉克那个是开的啦，它这是开着起落架在飞耶。CIG， 你有没有缓一下
？Environment of
我应该吐槽这个克拉克。
Run down, but the people who live there love it and are working.
等一下。
Run down, but the people who
那是大力神吗？还是
live there?
左边那一台是什么 ？Arasta 吗？还有这是大力神啊。
Love it and working.
等一下不太对劲，那一张是什么床？ 那看起来不像大力神系列的感觉吗？
There.
你看 Nix 不能直接 QT 是不是？不知道哎，看到探索玩法会加进来。我稍微 Google 一下哈，那一艘船 A1 吗？这边根本会感觉不是 A1， 我看一下 Arasta 的屁股长怎样？它看就很 Arasta 的设计啊。
Run down, but the
你看左边这个，我看一下，它跟 Arasta 是有87%像，我先来看一下就好。我稍微官网看一下，如果它是 Arasta， 那表示 Arasta 是不是要来了？ Arasta 背部
people who live there
是吗？感觉有点像还是这是滤镜问题？有点像 Arasta， 可是因为滤镜带上去吗？它有点像 Arasta， 有一点像啊。我不能说100%像，但是有点像，大概有我看一下。 大概可能有60-70%的感觉像吧，太小了，它那个太远了，我看不太清楚。但是它的尾部蛮像的，侧面也蛮像的。但 Arasta 它其实算扁的 ，Arasta 并没有说很厚，它是像有点比较偏扁的那一种。哦，那也是偏扁的。 你看大 A 神就是这样子，但是那个 Arasta 从这样看，它是这样飞，它没有这种弧形，它也不是那种大力神。
There, love it.
哎，那真的是雪碧吗
？Working their hardest to make it a great place to live.
哎，你他妈那个不是干，那所以是什么耍？克拉克吗？这不是 Arasta， 那这是什么？
back into the game. It's been gone for quite.
它不是 Rust 啊。
Run down,
还有
but
红
the
色
people who live there love it and are working their hardest to make it a great place.
这什么啊？有红色为主的为底的船吗？红波龙吗？
Place to live.
好吧，那就把它当菠萝吧。
This is a location that
好像都是 ISI 船啊。
has a lot.
你知道现在你那个因为是公民控嘛，他们莫名其妙都会把传一些传进去，都已经看到什么很像的就会开始
that has a lot of nostalgia for you.
他们都把音先奏都藏起来在那个影片里面。
This is a location that has a lot of nostalgia.
他们产一收一产 Rust 的，我都不觉得意外啊。 这红就菠
We
萝
do want you to go, wow.
It's not going to be as complete as Pyro was it first
不
came
是啊，
out.
你要不要偷偷
But it's
晒一
going to
下
be our
Rust 啊？我
first
想看
iteration,
Rust 啊
and you're going to be able to see it grow as we work on it.
反正都是
Like
ISI
with
的
everything, we're
船
always
Rust 也是
learning and
ISI
improving and finding new ways.
I mean, is there anything more Star Citizen than just building the system while the players watch us build it around them?
Going to add a nice dynamic
所以我拿 Rust 船呢。
Stanton and be a much
一直都要来
more
了，我的
common
Rust 呢为什么
style
Rust
system
啊
than Pyro.
The people that would have played it before are going to love to see this come back, and the people that haven't seen it before, it's going to be a great new location.
This is the first time that I'm going to be able to touch
如果
stuff and
这次
kind of bring my own
出来
content to
矿
the
业
game.
改版
That's
的
really
话，
exciting too.
Let's
如果
keep
改得
going
很
back
好，
into
那
the game
矿
is
业
a
应
huge
该有蛮多人
milestone
在玩。
personally for me. So I worked on the original quite some time ago. So seeing it come back and updated and improved and better is fantastic. We're going to
Experience in a new space station
For the player to explore and look into
is
the new gameplay.
your first experience in a new space station in a new solar system.
It's a mystery to be solved. There's things for the player to explore and look into. There's going to be some twists and turns, of course, some combat, and if you're lucky enough to survive, maybe some good rewards.
This is basically a continuation of kind of our ASD storyline. So in the closing out what we called our Science Run Amok storyline, we had revealed that ASD had been procuring sort of very black market illegal stuff in order to conduct their experiments. So this mission is basically going to be continuing on that trail.
So the Navy has learned that illegal tech is being sold in the UAE, and they're hiring Intersect to investigate. Intersect Defense Solutions is the leading military defense contractor in the UAE. So the Navy contracts with them a lot for doing various kind of military operations that they don't want to handle themselves. We didn't want players to be working directly for the Navy. The Navy just doesn't call up random citizens and ask like, hey, if you're free, can you fly a helicopter? I guess as a player, then you can think
我很
about
乐意
like,
开着假巴黎或是 Aegis 或是那个你的 Bengal 去打本路啊。
oh, where am I going to be doing missions that are capital ship battles or large fleet scale stuff or military operations? That's all going to come from Intersect Defense Solutions.
它怎么都是巴努北极星啊？偏白的北极星也就巴努北极星啊！你下一局你也知道我们需要巴努北极星，怎么不把它拿来卖呀、
Intersect have discovered.
你看。现在都懂了，你看这边有2艘巴努北极星耶，他都知道我们想要这个皮，难怪他不拿来卖，真的是，唉。
Intersect have discovered the source of the illegal tech is in the NIC system and an old abandoned QV Planet Services logistics station.
So they want the players to figure out what's going on.
Oh, Guardian.
So when you come out of Quantum and you start your approach vector to the objective, you'll be weaving through asteroids, going through the Glacian belt, and slowly the station will reveal itself. Now this is an old QV logistics station. It's pretty beat up, it's pretty derelict. But there's some points of interest that you'll spot as you go through. So the station itself shares design cues from old Pan Am stations found in Pyro. This architectural design found its way over to the NIC system as the system was being established. But you'll also see some additional design cues that QV planetary services were adding, so it's a nice transition architectural point. It's fairly skeletal in design. You'll see logistics yards and cargo yards, but also facilities pinned inside the asteroid, creating this network of facilities. You'll notice there's a Polaris near the main hub. It's not a normal Polaris. It's damaged, it's broken. It's not a standard corporate Polaris. It's damaged.
这是已经坏掉的北极星。
It's broken. It's not a standard
这我们
corporate
把它销毁可以
Polaris.
开走的意思。
So at this point, you should be asking yourself, who does this belong to? Away from the Polaris, you'll see struts leading to asteroid bases. Now, these asteroid bases are locked, so you don't know exactly what's inside just yet. But all of this comes together to form the playground for the mission to take place. So not only is this facility unabandoned, but it's also under attack from a surprising but familiar foe.
熟悉的敌人会变度吗？看，真的是本度哎，是本度占领了是不是？所以是那一艘新的本度船哎。
First time in the PU, the Vandal.
对啊，第一次在 PU 可以看得到本度。
So the Vandal are a nomadic, very, very, very violent spacefaring race.
They've been striking out against outposts and such in the Nyx system. They don't really know what they want, don't know why they're doing it, but it seems like whoever's running the station is really pissed them off.
Vandal raiding parties have been arriving in the system, and they're unaffiliated to any clan. Small groups coming in and picking up. But as time goes on, those raids are getting bigger and more frequent.
They'll be the scythes that you're familiar with, glaives and blades that we all know and hate, and a new craft for the PU, the Vandal Stinger.
You'll be contacted by some civilians on arrival asking you for help.
So at this point, you have a choice. You can either bug out, mission over, or join the fight. This will be the first time since the PU launched that you'll be able to fight against Vandal aggressor ships.
This fight will be intense. The player should be able to deal with them, but they will have to be prepared and they'll have to come back in to fight off this initial wave, and that won't be the end of it.
After you fight off the Vandal ships, the mysterious inhabitants of the station invite you to come on board.
Which Intersect sort of will encourage you to do because it'll help further their investigation against what's happening here, why these QB stations have come back online.
You dock your ship, you board the station, and it turns out the inhabitants here have a real surprise for you.
The player will be immediately ambushed. These guys are not your friends.
Of course, it's not going to be easy because the people that are inhabiting the station are going to fight you every step of the way.
The fight will be easy because the
不是啊，下一句怎么连？什么？你们也知道 port 武器很无敌。
Inhabiting the station are going to fight you every step of the way.
The fight will be challenging, but this definitely will be the warm-up phase of this mission. This will be the players getting a sense of what exactly is going on there, who these new people are. They'll be in unfamiliar armor, they'll be wielding unfamiliar weapons, and we want you to get a sense that you are in a new place, in a new territory, fighting a new faction.
So after you survive this initial ambush, you get back in touch with Intersect, and obviously the question is, who are these people? Why are they attacking you? Why are the Vandal attacking them?
At this point, there's more going on here than anyone thought. The directive from Intersect is to explore the station and collect as much information as you possibly can.
Along the way, you're going to get to explore some new areas.
It's not just the space station. There's the disabled capital ship. There's asteroid bases nearby with obvious There's the disabled capital ship. There's
那个本路的登陆床哎，我靠！ 那个登陆艇
asteroid bases nearby with obvious installations there.
哇，他们真的是直接把一些40中的东西慢慢加进来。
Forces that the Vandal have been
那东西我记得
attacking.
40中间才
There's a
看到的。
debris field.
Explore the locations in any order you want and try to find out who these people are and why the Vandal are after them.
You'll find new clues, you'll find ways to solve the puzzle of what's going on at the space station, and find out what kind of loot they have for you now that you've beat them.
And of course, this is a legally open station, so anything you find is yours to keep and sell, maybe even give to Wicklow. This isn't just a one-time event, this is a permanent sort of mission that we're going to be adding to the game.
You can go back and repeat this mission and find ways to do it even better, even faster.
There'll be a different story and different flavor. Obviously, we can't have the same thing happen every time. There'll be other missions that Intersect will offer to you based on the evidence that you found.
Now you know the real story, and you can start digging and giving more information to Intersect along the way.
I'm super excited to finally see the Vanduul in the PU.
I'm excited to bring
Players in the PU will now get to face down these awesome ships and get a taste of like we already have it in Arena Commander. You get to fight the Vandal Swarm, and being able to do that in the PU is going to be, I think, a heck of a lot of fun.
So this marks a great milestone for us for not only pushing hard and adding great content this year, we're also being able to introduce the next star system and introducing the next landscape to tell new stories and add new gameplay beats into the ever-expanding universe. So we'll leave 4.4 there. If you're at one of the watch parties, please raise a toast to the great work that all the teams have been doing this year. And I'll be right back in just a few minutes to toast to the great some of the things coming in 2026.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Voyager Bar in beautiful very own CitizenCon Direct around the world. We've gathered today to watch a sneak peek at just a locations around the party. Gathered for their very own events happening at locations around the world, Citizen has in store for everyone. Oh, it's nuts. And then in November, we're going to finish out the year strong with the long-awaited arrival of the Nix system for everyone. A foundation citizen, then continue simulcast show, Let's Tube and Twitch. Tube, you have to say, especially interested to bring videos or super varied entries during our pre-show. We're one guy for you about Burger for their efforts, but show up on a party here. All right, so out brand next year.
哦，来了，这个，就是要看这个了。新那个。
At Cloud Imperium Games, we believe art inspires the best technology, and through the development of that technology, it pushes us to create even better art. When Genesis comes to the persistent universe starting next year, it will change how you experience every world, and not just in the building of the new planets for the Nix system. We will also go back through standard building. It will change when Genesis comes to the persistent universe starting next year. It will change how you experience every world, and not just in the building of the new planets for the Nix system. We will also go back through Stanton and Pyro and reimagine them through the lens of our technology. Previously, and more traditionally, we'd create slices of biomes, like deserts or forests. This approach moved us forwards and got us this far, but solving the scale was always tricky. And for Star Citizen, we like to do scale on another level. Predictable blending when two fellows found we need this. Planet. With Genesis, we've made a complete paradigm shift to how we do things. Biomes now created based on the physical data sets. With the assets paradigm shift to how we do things. Biomes are now created based on the physical data sets.
为什么你们的 F8 是起落架是开的？我操，现在去，你们怎么没烧成总是起落架是开的？
With the assets being spawned whenever and wherever the correct criteria is found. So when you see a forest or a meadow, it's no longer because an artist painstakingly crafted it there. It's now
这好像比我们3段还美哎。
It fits inside our rules.
完了，我3段掰
Genesis
了。
also ties into our other gameplay systems. Our new planets are built from the information we create for our different
但
data
为什么
sets,
起源是没有开？
like height maps, humidity, temperature, soil type, soil.
哦，这地方很像那一种，那个叫什么啊？越南吗？还是哪里啊？我记得这种场景好像电影中看到过。挪威吗？
Like height maps, humidity, temperature, soil type, soil amounts, geology erosion data, to name but a few. This means you can now tell where to find valuable minerals as the geology looks like it will be suitable for it. Where scree piles exist below sheer cliff faces, and where rocks have broken off over time due to erosion. Of course, these new tools still give us the ability to direct the look and feel we want. The attention to detail from the tallest mountain to the smallest flower is still our core DNA. With Genesis, we can now keep that detail-oriented. Of course, the rocks have broken off over time due to erosion. Of course, these new tools still give us the ability to direct the look and feel we want. The attention to detail from the tallest mountain to the smallest flower is still our core DNA. With Genesis, we can now keep that detail-orientated mindset.
哦，哇，是那个沼泽哎。
As we focus on the
哦，有黑水，哎呀。 哎，这个沼泽就是那个大蛇的地方。
It provides the quantity.
应该算偏沼泽吧。感觉会有那个蛇。
Genesis provides our planet the ultimate sense of exploration and adventure, discovery in the purest emotional form. We want you to find that perfect place, with the planets providing an abundant resource to harvest. This is a major part of what exploration is for us. We want that feeling of finding a corner of the universe that you'll fall in love with, and where you want to settle down and build your home. Now I'm going to hand you over to Will to go deeper into what we have built that allows Genesis to realize our vision. As a reminder, some of the visuals you'll see will evolve and change as we continue our technological development and hone in on the final look for Nyx.
Thanks, Ian. So, in case it's not already clear, Genesis is our name for a group of technologies that are improving our ability to build worlds, refining those that we've already created, and ultimately expanding our persistence. Let's talk about how that's really cool to the Nyx. Nyx 3 is a gas giant, and I think it's blue. It's not going to surface. I don't really know. Blue? It's not going to surface. I don't really know.
Oh,
Nyx 2 is a yellow toxic. It's got like this high pressure atmosphere, and it's like a very volatile planet with high risk reward gameplay. It's going to have some really interesting biomes for you to discover, but for now, it's going to have some really interesting biomes for you to discover, but for now, just know it's going to be dangerous, because today we're going to focus on what we
看一下这个黄色，他说偏的那个是偏人那种，可以防寒那种生物吗？
and it's like a very volatile planet with high risk reward gameplay. It's going to have some really interesting biomes for you to discover, but for now, just know it's going to be dangerous. Because today, we're going to focus on what we consider to be the hero planet of this system. Nyx 1 has got a rugged, remote beauty. It's got a diverse set of biomes, from weathered rocky mountain ranges to vast sweeping forests and grasslands, and from damp, expansive wetlands to claustrophobic, festering swamps.
虽然我不想靠近那个地方，还有这个地方，这边应该有。
These core biome concepts give us a fantastic platform to hone our technology. In some cases, because the current tech couldn't do them at all, or because we want to completely step up our game for them.
应该还不会那么快。
So, let's approach this planet in much the same way that you, the player, will.
对啊，那为什么这个北极星就没有开起落架
？Orbit. The orbit appearance of the planets going forward is far more tied to what is present on the surface. Previously, we had different data that drove the orbital and ground coloring. That's because the orbit was designed to look like vegetation that we'd place on the surface, and the ground coloring was trying to be a mix of soil, rock, and the organic compound coloring that forms the kind of colors there. Now we author much more of the data in a unified way. When you look at Earth, you see blues and greens for ocean and vegetation, and brown or yellowy tones for sand and soil. We wanted to keep it as simple as that. The same set of textures and data that define the color of the soil, sand, and rock on the ground are used to create the orbital look. We then assess the presence of vegetation and competition between different species on each part of the planet, and use that to blend in tones of green, including variations due to species health and the current season. This creates a far more complete image and allows you to identify features, geologies, and potential points of interest all the way from space. We then assess the blend-in tones of green, including variations due to species health and the current season. This creates a far more complete image and allows you to identify features, geologies, and potential points of interest all the way from space. Let's go down to the surface and start with something closer to what you're used to, but in a whole new light.
这边已经是下次 low fly 的地方。
When we approached the surface of the planet, we wanted to start by focusing on just the soil.
我的显卡要哀嚎了，各位。
One of the things that was missing from our terrain previously was simply feature complexity. Looking at our contemporaries, we lacked detail at the ground scale. To combat this, we've added a new layer of data. That layer is called the medium tiles. That layer is called the medium tiles. These are intelligently placed on top of the existing 4-kilometer terrain tiles based on slope, soil type, and other erosion data. And these medium tiles don't just create height changes, they also bring in local erosion data both for soil and bedrock size values. And this gives us a whole new level of terrain detail, of scale, and allows us to create far more unique locations across the planet. So now that we've nailed the surface, let's have a look at adding some rocks. We've now got two major contributors to the rock content of our planets. Firstly, long desired feature, cliffs. We are adding large scale, very detailed to all our cliffs based on the geology at a given location. This adds an exciting new dimension to steep slopes that we simply couldn't get before. The second is a big one for you ground vehicle enthusiasts. Rocks are now found not scattered everywhere, like spilt popcorn at the cinema, but only in places you'd expect to find them, like spilt popcorn at the cinema.
终于，他收了一个我们开地面载具最喜欢的一个消息了。他们说终于不用再一直遇到蛮多石头这件事了。
Rocks are now found not scattered everywhere.
这我们基本上可以不用再遇到那种开一开，然后你车子就翻了这件事。
Where like spilled popcorn at the cinema, but only in places you'd expect to find them.
所以我们加到特定地形就不会看到那么多石头或是什么杂七杂八那种。
Annoying as hell.
哦，这个我最想听到的消息。
Physical data generated for each large and medium tile.
我就是想听到这个好消息，这样我们陆地载具就完美，这样比较好开车。
So if you're still crashing into them after this comes out,
这车的问题就是很容易，只要一碰到石头就直接翻车了。哎，这个石头是红的。
have had a glow up too. We now create rock sets related to a particular geology that look like they originated from the same source.
哦，
This
红色
ties
石头
into
耶，
how
好
we'll
帅
be！ distributing minables
人家
in
是水晶
much
矿
more
哦，
interesting ways too.
矿是在挖哎。
So now that our base terrain and rock scattering looks good,
let's add some vegetations and explore some additional biomes. Next one's forests and grass.
你看右下角一台历史开过去了，你看很适合旅行的地方，对吧？
Next one's forests and grasslands are full of trees, various grass species, rock formations.
哦，还有雾。
And they're found in all sorts of elevations, like mountain valleys, open plains, and dense meadows. And when we start to add a bit of fresh water, they begin transitioning into more wetland-type biomes.
Oh.
And while forests are super cool, let's focus on the grasslands and wetlands today. So, how are we making these look so great? Obviously, we've had grass before, but never meadows of it. Because until now, we haven't been able to spawn grass in large enough quantities or effectively represented at distance. So we're stepping up our game in terms of spawning, shaping, and shading grass.
增加草的生成。
With Genesis, we now leverage GPU spawning to create vast quantities of assets across all biomes. Whether it be dense meadows or more complex collections of ground cover like you can see in these wetlands. We are also able to, like you can see in these wetlands. We are also able to fit our grass tiles to the ground by conforming them to the unique terrain underneath. Now we can finally cover complex terrain shapes with grass and ground cover assets, and as a result they are now gravity aligned, meaning each blade is oriented as you'd expect and not sticking out like before. Next, let's take a look at how we light our grass. Now, as in real life, the shading of a grass blade, or indeed a whole field of grass, is lit very differently to like a flat surface. We now use a solution that shades meadows of grass far more like fur or hair. And this, if you think about it, makes sense. At a distance, a field of grass is far more like a carpet or cloth than a flat surface. This improves how our grass looks from a near perspective, as well as bringing us nicely into how we're solving the distant representation of grass. So, let's talk about the distance problem. One of our biggest achievements with Genesis is allowing us to build beautiful biomes out of flora and geology assets like a building set. Can I say Lego?
No.
Too late. But in the past, this broke down very quickly when objects simply disappeared when viewing the same biome from 10, 20, 100 kilometers away. Because we don't hide planetary transitions and allow you to view complex regions from very large distances, there are almost infinite perspectives from which you can see a location in StarCitizen. So, how can we afford to evaluate complex spawning logic at runtime for the entire varying scales? Terrain can wait, and when able to do that, those muggy wetlands.
我的 PTU 看不到 Stinger Sticky Finger。哦。
So yeah, we didn't forget about the swamps, and they're coming to Nyx 1 as well. Built using the lessons learned and all the technologies we've developed, these swamps now spring into existence from the planetary data.
又有那只大蛇。
This biome combines all of the elements from the other biomes we've shown you today.
完了，这是最危险的地方。
Water interaction, denser spawning, unique ground coverage. And I think it creates something really unique.
旁边是蛇吗？不是，吓死我！那什么东西啊？很长一只诶，是我吗？
Anyway, that's our update on the Planet Tech portion of Genesis and how we're using it right now to sculpt the identity of Nyx 1. And I hope you're as excited as we are. And everything we haven't shared yet next year.
As you can see, Genesis is now inspiring everyone here to create planets of the quality and believability we've always strived for. And meeting of technology and art that I truly believe will set our worlds apart from anything we've done before.
后期。
Up until now, our mission system has been specific to the star system you're in, meaning a Stanton mission has to take place in the Stanton system, and a Pyro mission has to take place there. We've never been able to link these together, but with the introduction of our third star system, it's time for this to change. And that begins with the introduction of interstellar cargo.
What are you talking about today? System-to-system hauling missions. Hauling is back.
No one said hauling was gone. He doesn't even play the game.
These are exactly what they say on the tin. Missions where you're going to start in, say, Stanton and end in Nix, taking various volumes of cargo between the stations. So there'll be high volumes of cargo that kind of fulfill the purpose for the Hull C and the other series of Hull ships. And there'll be a few sort of more direct routes.
So you might pick up some cargo from Ruin Station in Pyro and go through the jump point to Stanton and drop it off there at one of the areas.
So if you've never sort of experienced the jump point or going through it, these missions will require. So if you've never sort
下一句转错边了。
of experience
它这个 docking port 他们右边没有啊，是左边才有啊，哎。
the jump point or going through it, these missions will require you to.
如果这样跨系星任务，那收益应该也不错
You can do them in any sort of ship you want, any size of ship. I'll be doing them in my Drake cutter myself, between Stanton and Nix.
而且外部货舱都出来，那个外部电梯都出来，那表示可以用北极星运。
But the Drake cutter is really cute, so.
One thing that we're looking to add with these interstellar missions is scripted comet encounters where you can be attacked by NPC ships. Maybe the mission giver has tipped off some pirates who are looking to get a hold of that cargo, as well as express missions, which means the deadline timers that you're used to in the regular hauling missions might get really tight and you've got to learn to be very fast. All of the love and care that has gone into hauling missions so far, with the logistical network and making sure they make sense within the themes of the systems, just as much love has gone into the interstellar missions we're making now.
德瑞克不打德瑞克是假的，德瑞克才会打德瑞克。看那个画面。
At the start of the show, we said we was going to build. At the
下面一扫而过的船哦。
We said we was going to build out the Nix system right in front of you after 4.4 launches next month, and why we want to keep as much of what we're doing behind closed doors so you can discover it for yourself, in-game and on your own. We still are excited to share with you a brief look at one of our up-and-coming locations we're calling Rockcracker.
Rocker， 哦，这看起来还在概念中啊。 对啊 ，Concept R 的概念中。
Okay, so Rockcracker, Jared, is our internal name.
可是我们要怎么把石头运过去
？Is where you have to crack a rock. It's a big rock.
有没有那么大的牵引墙吗？
So way out into the Keegan Belt, you'll find these old QV breaker stations. These were originally industrial facilities breaking apart large asteroids and mining them down. But since they've been mothballed and been left abandoned. So you're going to have to find your way inside and thinking about how do we bring this facility back to life.
感觉这种石头里面会有那一
It's
种
not just about flipping the switch.
价值
As you
很
bring
高
these
的矿
stations
物。
back to life, you'll be lighting the beacon and calling attention to these long forgotten places.
那感觉这些矿物有很值钱的感觉。
One of the main
只是前
features
提
is
是
the
我
laser
们要
head,
怎么把
which
那
will
矿放进那个
require
地方。
certain things to get working. It's up to you and your friends to find how to get in.
There'll be a variety of options. Whether you're discovering the bowels of the station and mining your way through long forgotten tunnels, or you're going through the main laser entrance. Now, as you're traversing through the facility, you'll find the old engine room. Now, there may be ways to bring the facility back to life, kickstart the engines, and bring power to different parts of the facility. Maybe eventually bringing the laser back online and cracking some rocks.
The secondary gameplay loop is FPS combat. You're not there by yourself.
There may be squatters and outlaws in these stations trying to stop you from what you want to do.
哇，这三小角色我怎么可以砍到这么猛？哎，哪个新的枪哦？当然是他们今天说的那把新的枪。不知道什么枪哎。
So you've found these old facilities, you've brought them back to life. You've systematically brought power to various functions of the facility. You've activated the laser.
4张吧。
You've fired the laser. You've broken apart the rock.
像我是真的没料到他那个帕拉丁
Then
是
you'll
这
be
个
able
时候
to
就出来
fly your
了。
ship inside and see what's
早知道
there.
百倍可多买几张回来了。
So you fly a ship.
哎，等一下，哎，里面是空壳哦。
So you
它不是里面有放哦。
into an asteroid.
Yeah.
所以它里面包东西呀。
You just get into your ship and fly in and start.
那10省多少来着？帕拉丁10省40吗？
Searching around and trying to find the pieces that you want to mine.
哦，如果百倍可有及时买回来的话，会省更多张啊。但是就
I'm really excited about Rockcracker.
哎，等一下，他居然是把船开进去了？不会吧？
You can kind of go to these.
哦，10省75，那么多，都要被烧穿了。但是它里面是空壳的，因为里面是实体的。哎呀，10省75，这么多啊！
Whenever you want to.
This content is for players who enjoy mining, who enjoy
我突然觉得
exploration,
我早知道不要把那些
investigation,
都融掉了。
and don't mind a little bit of
百倍
FPS
应该还有
content
4、5
on there.
张。
It will be very new experience compared to any other asteroids because this one, kind of like Alan and mine, will crack open.
我是10块钱的那一种。
And one presumes you can make a decent amount of scratch.
这种别是10
An asteroid that's big enough you fly your spaceship into it.
It wouldn't be worth doing if you couldn't make a good amount of coin. Yeah.
Making
啊，那我
promises
们
for
赚
the
足够的钱啊。
Yeah. They've got to balance it.
It's for people who want a lot of minerals.
里面肯定是空
When
的。
crafting comes in, when all the other mechanics and features that we want in the game for 1.0 come in, it will be a place where like an organization or a group of like 5-6 people could come and just get a monumental amount of minerals.
哦，那个就是专门挖矿的地方的。
So that's a look at some of what's coming over the next 12 months. In addition to what we've shown, there'll be new mission packs tailored to people's lives and their struggles. There'll be events that invest you into the evolving storyline of all 3 systems we'll have in the game. And of course, when we begin populating these with new planets, there'll be a whole host of ground-based POIs, settlements and structures inhabited by those trying to make their way in the verse. And all of this in service of building star systems that complement the massive corporate yard of Stanton, the lawless ganking of Pyro, and now the new frontier of discovery for the Nyx system. Should I say ganking?
You already did. Good job, everyone. So yeah, a whole lot to take in there. Interstellar hauling is the beginning of a massive expansion to the mission system that'll let us connect these 3 star systems like never before. What else we got? Rockcracker. Rockcracker is just one of the next operations that'll be coming to the Nyx system in the first half of next year. Where we're gonna fly into an asteroid, do that thing that miners love more than anything else. Complain about PvPers getting in their way. No, I'm being told it's mining. It's mining. Peers getting in there. Do that thing that miners love more than anything else. Complain about PvPers getting in their way. No, I'm being told it's mining. It's mining. And of course, one of the most anticipated features coming to Star Citizen, Genesis, and what that means for the planets of Star Citizen, including the ones already in there. So let's talk to Will Hain and find out more. And I'm just remembering that Will Hain is in France at the watch party. Okay, France. Ask Slarty Bartfast over there how they're going to use Genesis to update the planets and moons of Stanton and get back to me, all right? And see if we can get some people. It's hard. And now they're in there. Almost all for sale a couple weeks ago. Gunship flight suit and helmet. 2 armor sets.
我今天没什么看，仔细来看一下啊。哦，那石头的那个奖杯箱子啊，还有衣服。哦，2件普通衣服。
From that mysterious faction causing a ruckus with a Vanduul, and an inner slick Levski swag, and an adorable plushie, which long-awaited edition of the Van.
扁度刀在哪里？哦，看到的扁度往我身边。
Vanduul to Star Citizen, a cool Vanduul knife, and adorable plushie, which I swear to love and squeeze and cherish forever.
我就把那个往我当
pretty solid haul for this year's digital goodies pack, which you can still pick up right now on the RSC and the. All right, I had a dream about like this once. Yeah.
我看了什么
A lot of people's working up. All right, I had a dream about like this once. Yeah. Okay, so against everyone's better judgment, the thing has finally happened. Can I help you?
How do you think the show's going?
Good. We're getting the Nick Star system and the Vanduul are coming.
Kind of been a lot of Nicks, right?
Well, yeah, but it's a major milestone and it deserves a major showcase celebrating everybody.
Cool.
Steal your soul.
Well,
this thing. All right. No.
从那个手环来的，血肉皮吗？
Let's just go to some spaceships, shall we?
And welcome to Talking Ship, where we're going to talk about 3 new ships coming to the persistent universe.
你在忙？我先上个厕所一下，绝对不是会看船务。啊，上个厕所，先上个厕所一下。哎，刚吃了一根冰棒。啊，没有啊，就上厕所而已啊，然后喝一些水啊，就这样。哎，好，回来了。就上个小厕所而已。哎。
The last year has been pretty hectic in terms of vehicle deliveries. I think we've delivered the most we've ever done in a 12-month period, and we've covered all the way from tiny little snubs all the way up to capital ships.
We've kind of filled out a few little gaps. We've introduced some new ships by some old manufacturers.
We had the Polaris come out, and obviously people have enjoyed playing with that. We snuck the Idris in, without none of you expected for a while.
悄悄的带入，他们真的是悄悄带入EG3，这个真的不变。
It's been a busy year. It's nice to start revisit some of the older catalogue and some of the bigger ships again.
I think my favourite ship from the last year is a tie between the Wolf and the Golem.
Favourite ship from the last year? Probably the Wolf.
I feel like it's the obvious one. I'm trying to think of something else, but I really like the Wolf.
Everyone's mentioning the Wolf. The Wolf's everyone's favourite.
The Wolf, honestly, a return of Kruger, a completely new aesthetic to the game.
The Wolf
它那个下面那个尾翼，如果能换个地方放，
我觉得可以。
它的
The Golem is just an incredibly well-formed ship. It's such a small package. It really just shows off that Drake aesthetic, giving you the absolute bare minimum needed to perform a role.
I honestly do really like the Zeus. I think it came out really well. It's kind of hard to pin down a favorite, to be honest, because we've released, a lot of really cool ships.
Next year, we've got some super exciting ships coming up. We're
明年我们将迎来一些超级令人兴奋的船只，哪一艘
？Ticking off a few big ones, which is good. We're gonna
所以是哪一艘
see again maybe some ships from some manufacturers that don't have that many in their lineup. There's a few big challenging ones starting. They're good. A breadth of ships, should we say?
The 3 new ships we're going to introduce today all tie in some way to the primary factions.
Big challenging ones starting, so they're good. A breadth of ships, should we say?
The 3 new ships we're going to introduce today all tie in some way to the primary factions fighting over the Nyx system. We'll start with the People's Alliance and Anvil Aerospace.
Anvil
is a very military-based brand. It's been a brand that's in Star Citizen for a long time, fighting for lots of military contracts and lore, often up against Aegis, and to the point it actually beat Aegis in the past. You will be familiar with a lot of their ships' designs, such as the Hornet and Lightning. Earlier this year, we introduced the Anvil Asgard, based on the Valkyrie chassis, which is an extremely popular offering. And this year, we're bringing the concept ship we introduced last year, the Anvil Paladin, to life. The Paladin is a gunship from Anvil Aerospace designed to support ground operations.
A gunship is a ship that's designed to sustain firefight.
洛克希德马丁公司
is a gunship from Anvil Aerospace designed to support
的确，它炮可以朝下，所以应该也是可
ground
以
operations.
A gunship is a ship that's designed to sustain a sustained firefight while dealing a lot of damage, also taking damage.
We don't have a lot of gunships in the game that are true dedicated gunships. They are quite a tricky archetype to control in game without being too powerful. It's designed with a lot of firepower and high armor and health, but very low maneuverability.
It's
就跟 F9 的学妹一样，马修一样。
purely for battle. It's got
圣诞节真的是给帕拉丁的衣服，帕拉丁专用的驾驶衣。
built purely for battle. It's got lots of armor, lots of guns, big guns.
It's got a very similar squat kind of form to the Valkyrie. It kind of reminds me of, I guess, like a pit bull. Obviously, a very menacing silhouette.
It looks quite forward-weighted in its stance. It feels like it's coming towards you, even when it's just sat still. And I think that's something that helps with it feeling intimidating.
If we swing round, following the ship round clockwise, what you'll then see is the first of the side turrets. If you notice the canopy, you'll see that there's a fairly thick space between where the glass is and the hull exterior. That's because it has deployable armor, which can come out and give you a little bit more cover while you're actually attacking the target head on.
It's got these really nice kind of connected wings with the turrets out on the sides, just to try and give as much kind of range for those turrets as we can get.
Which is controlled by one of the 2 remote stations underneath the bridge.
我像它跟米外那种数位投影嘛，可是那个 EMP 在它前面都
is controlled by one of the 2 remote stations underneath the bridge. If we come around to the rear, you'll see a rail. Now that rail mounts the main turret of the ship, which is controlled by the co-pilot.
So you've got full 360 coverage underneath, full 360 coverage on top with it, and then the side turrets also have 360 coverage that way around and 180 out sideways. So really you have, between the turrets, pretty much 360 coverage in all directions. One of the unique things about the Paladin is all the turrets are remote and all the crew are located in this one central 2-story room.
A lot of our other gunships, the crew gets scattered across the ship, but with the Paladin, you're all sat together with a nice, cool experience, so you can really feel like you're playing as a group.
You've got the pilot, co-pilot up top, and you've got the gunners underneath, and I think
really feel like you're playing.
为什么是在中间啊？我以为它的操作感为什么在中间？这样不就跟战斗机类似
？Playing as a group.
You've got the pilot, co-pilot up top, and you've got the gunners underneath, and I think that helps with the intention of what the ship does, because you've got this really nice kind of like gunner viewpoint down, kind of giving this lower coverage,
We added a glass floor just to keep the two connected. I think that really helps with the feeling that you're all working together and communicating.
That said, if you don't have the ability to fully crew a paladin, you can still fly it and engage in combat solo.
Obviously not as good as if you have a full crew, but you can't always guarantee your friends are going to be online.
As a solo ship, it's pretty capable of doing a variety of missions within Star Citizen. So if you want to run this ship solo, you can take on combat missions that, say, other heavy fighters like the Scorpius or other ships such as the Drake Cutlass could do. Coming aboard the Paladin, you enter into this sort of armory ready room area. You have a variety of suit lockers and weapon racks in this room.
Everything's very militaristic, stripped back, simple. It's a very functional space, but you'll find everything you need in there.
One of the improvements from the original concept is we've added a small dedicated cargo bay area, allowing you to store. The concept is we've added a small dedicated cargo bay area, allowing you to store that is the route to the lower gunners, and then upstairs you have the bridge area, and then off, and then so you create small dedicated cargo bay area, allowing you to store actual
只是它这个也是有缺点啊，你看它那个空间就比较小，你就不能拿最里面的东西。
SCU crates. Forward of that is the route to the lower gunners, and then upstairs you have the bridge area, and then off that central area you have the dual living quarters, one on the left, one on the right, and then at the rear you have the main sort of engineering area where the majority of the components are. Also within the upper traversal area you also have a little breakout area with seating, food machine, toilets, etc.
I think it's a very cool looking ship. I think we did a really nice job of taking what was there in the concept and adding an extra level of detail and trying to kind of push things forward.
I think it hits the nail in terms of a really solid military ship. It's really complementary to some of the other ships in the Anvil lineup, so something like the Valkyrie where you've got this big drop ship, the Paladin's there just to make sure it's safe, make sure no one messes with you, and just basically scare people away.
The thing I like most, I think, about the Paladin is that it's very clearly got a crew of 4, and they all kind of work and operate under the same conditions. You know, the pilot, co-pilot, and the 2 gunners, they're basically all equal on the ship. They're together. But
it's really odd to me that you call that, you like that there's one toilet for 4 people. Toilet seat never gets cold.
Originally a military-built craft, it's the perfect ship for folks on the frontier trying to defend against threats. And talking of built craft, it's the perfect ship for folks on the frontier trying to defend against threats. And talking of threats, let's move to our next ship, a replica from Hesperia. Hesperia are a high-end manufacturer. They specialize in recreating exotic and particularly alien spacecraft.
Effectively what they're doing is they're remanufacturing them, making them a little bit more suitable for kind of human flight. And the latest offering from Hesperia is the Vandal Stinger.
就怎样？这不是那个吗？王船那个也是很像最高的指挥官开走的那艘船，所以他们把那个打死就对了。
The Vandal are big, scary space aliens. They're like 7-foot-tall, evil war race that sort of take over, steal technology, absorb it, fuse it all together into their own needs.
They are the relatively nasty aliens that you sometimes hear about and haven't seen much of yet. They also make really cool spaceships.
The Stinger as a Vandal heavy fighter was reserved for their higher tier sort of ace pilots or high-ranking members within their clans.
The Stinger
一定是因为这艘船把他离那个瞬间秒掉的关系，他们就把它拆成逆向方阵。
in quite a large frame, so it's a very, very tanky spacecraft. The firepower is almost unrivaled in terms of just both the number and the size of them. So it's there for players who don't want agility. They don't want to be in and out quickly. They want to be there with big guns and taking all the hits. One thing Xperia have done differently with the Stinger is they have done away with the majority of the bespoke weapons.
They heard everyone's complaints about the glaive and blade and have stripped off the original Vandal weapons to allow customization for standard human weapons.
With the exception of the single size 5 gun.
Because it was too well integrated into the hull, even for Xperia to remove.
All the additional weapons are generic mounts, so they can be swapped with any of the existing lineup that we have in the game. By doing this, provides greater flexibility to the end user, and this is something Xperia wanted for the civilian market. For that one bespoke weapon, the size 5 plasma cannon, functionally it is the same as the existing size 5 plasma cannons on the Scythe and Glaive, but it is a sort of Gen 2 model and wraps it in a Scythe and Glaive, but it is a sort of Gen 2 model and wraps it in a different aesthetic compared to those models. You'll see they're very much older Vandal styling. This is much newer Vandal styling, but underneath it is the same weapon that people have used for years.
Our job as the vehicle art team on the PU was to take the Stinger from the squadron team and prepare it for life in the PU. We took an opportunity to take, this really well-established art style and, add extra details where needed.
So the exterior is a real blend of these kind of hard surface, kind of rare alloyed wings, and then underneath this real kind of organic structure that kind of webs all of the ship together. It connects the thrusters in, it connects all the kind of underside of the vehicle and pulls the whole ship together.
You can tell it's very different from the Vandal ships that are currently in the PU. If you take, for example, the way the cockpits are constructed.
Up at the front, we've got this big kind of bubble dome that gives the cockpit quite a unique shape compared to some of our other ships, and also gives the pilot a unique position within the ship and kind of gives great visibility out the front.
Boarding the Stinger is a little unusual compared to other ships, obviously being alien in nature.
You're going through a ramp at the rear, and it leads you kind of straight up into the belly of the ship.
There's lots of
the rear, and it leads you kind of straight up into the belly of the ship.
There's lots of organic detail.
为什么是三星饭啊？下一句为什么左边是三星饭？你会解释一下
strange alien forms.
On entry of the cockpit, the seat kind of comes down towards you, and you kind of climb over the back of it a bit like a motorbike.
You're basically riding into the cockpit. It feels very much like you're being carried inside.
这个坐船时度好像有点久啊。
The traditional prone flying pose that Vandal pilots use.
I'm very happy with the Stinger. I think the team done a really good job of making something that feels different. It feels alien, but it suits our lineup of ships and it suits our universe.
I think the guys did a really good job of respecting the the direction and vision from the original Stinger and Vandal ships in Squadron.
We've tried to take a lot of inspiration from movies and other science fiction material, but I think it sits well within the Star Citizen universe.
So we have the Paladin for the People's Alliance. We have the Stinger for people that really like Vandal and want to try and pretend to be them. But what about the other mysterious faction we have running around?
So Gray Chowdhury got his start as he was working at a cargo center out in Odin. He started being able to get his hands on some stuff that other people couldn't, items that necessarily you couldn't find on a store shelf, but you wanted anyway.
I think Gray is interested in, happy customers. Gray just sees themselves as a conduit to get these things in the hands of people who are
你知道吗？他们把这艘船缠了2年，知道吗？这艘船他们缠了2年。
So the Shiv,
这艘船第一次出现在那个42中队那个，他们那一年不是说他们在努力打磨42中队那件事，就是后面几年就开始在努力打磨。那一年，就2年前他就出现过了。
We don't really know what it is, to be fair.
It's what happens when someone who is a genius at aeronautics and ship assembly is given free rein to do whatever they want. It's the best of whatever they can find lying around, put together to make something truly unique, wonderful, arguably beautiful, and just released out into the universe to see what happens.
At first glance at the exterior of the Shiv, I think most people will probably recognize there is more.
我觉得 John Cool 表示，我是不是以后要做节肉皮
than a fair proportion of the cutlass
我们节肉皮要来了
visible there, but it's had quite a few changes to it.
As you look a little bit closer, you'll start to pick out elements from other ships You've got, you know, main thrusters that are from the Valkyrie.
某种意义上来说，搞不好是我们未来以后可以克制自己的
panels welded on, panels removed. The top turret, which is now remote, is just this hodgepodge amalgamation with multiple other ships' turrets. And then the changes continue onto the inside, where again, it sort of feels Cutlass-like, but then you'll find there's bits of Crusader ships just integrated into the wall instead of what was there originally.
It has lost its side entrance, some of its cargo.
Ember Drake Misk 还有 Crusader 啊。
Capacity, but what it's gained is it's gained visually more powerful thrusters. It's gained a really kind of nice set of belly thrusters. It's upped its firepower.
As ever with the refined work from Gray's Market, you can see that
Gray's Market， 你知道吗？我们只是念几遍，他说 Gray Market， 现在就自己做了一个灰色给我们。 现在就表示你们想买灰色的东西是不是？我们直接做一个灰色的厂商出来，你们就去买。
There's like loose cables, panels are exposed. If you look carefully, you'll notice there are like tools laying around in the cockpit.
It's going to toilet.
这个看几遍都很好笑，一个木桶放在那边。
Bucket.
Yeah, it's one for doing stuff, and you need a second one to wash your hands. It's not an animal.
It has very much taken that ethos of Drake and moved it down a level, which I think is quite an achievement.
Just look at this thing. How do you even begin to describe the madness that created this? It's the Shiv.
This is something new and different for Star Citizen. Where did it come from?
I'm not going to answer that.
Just
Gray goes to places and talks to people. I mean, you know, there are just many ways to find these things that, you know, I mean, are they legitimate, you know, manufacturers? No. Are they operating on the right side of the law? Maybe not, but, you know, money's money.
Does Gray have a motto, an ethos to live by?
It probably comes down to, don't ask where I got it.
Don't ask how we got it.
Don't worry about it. Just ask if you want it.
I think the Shiv is for someone that is looking for something a bit different, a bit away from the norm. They just want something that's
fun ship, but it's also really strong. Release.
Always fun to see the quirks and the shenanigans that people get up to with them. So that's talking ship for another year.
Yeah, you can't do that thing with Leslie. Talking weapons.
So I've just been informed that we have to do a bit of a timeshare agreement this year. So we have to throw it over to Alexei for talking weapons, which is extra.
When you face space pirates.
Great weapon.
Scrappy right now, and 3 new weapons. Rocket launcher. The element right now we're releasing 3 new weapons. Rocket launcher.
火箭筒发射器都来了。我看一下。
Now we're releasing 3 new weapons. Rocket
它是怎样射啊？看不出来。
The LMG.
哦，这是刚刚他拿的那一把。
And the long-awaited Space AK.
哦，太空 AK 要来了。
I think this is the
AK.
能量？怎么听起来像能量武器
I think this is the one that not only is the most in demand, but I've been politely badgered about the most. It's a fun rifle that basically fires energy and ballistic in sequence. So your first shot will be your ballistic, your second shot will be energy. You'll see on the top of the art, there is a bolt that cycles the rounds, and that goes off with the ballistic shot, but it does not go off with the energy shot.
哦，能量和实弹的哇！假设是搞不好卖方不敢想象的罗贝尔。
Just like a really fun way of making a weapon work in kind of like a scrappy, glued together kind of aesthetic. The LMG, this thing is a really fun, slow firing,
hard-hitting beast. It will bring the 50 cal, and the only other weapons that have this right now in the verse are the bearing sniper rifle and the
Honestly, if you even get hit by one, you just instant tier 1 injury, back to medical.
Are you even trying anymore?
You know what? We made all these really complicated, fancy guns, and some people just want, I want a slow firing rifle. Give me a scrap together box that fires the biggest thing you can possibly find.
We don't have a rocket launcher or this caliber. It will be 3 grenades straight together that you pull into the chip and fire towards your enemies. The cool part about it, it will have an arming distance, so you will not be able to just point it towards an enemy.
It's also going to have a lot of spread. So essentially, you're going to have to get very close with your launcher to be able to blow up ships with a single. You're going to have to get very close with your launcher to be able to blow up ships with a single payload in it. You can't actually aim with the apparatus because you've got the tube on your shoulder. You try to aim it, you'd have to physically put the tube in your head. So we were like, oh, we can't have an aim apparatus for this. And then we realized, like, it's in the spirit of being a tube that you can't use the aiming apparatus, and you just kind of like, all right, I think that's the middle of the screen, I'm gonna hit it.
It's in the spirit of being a tube.
哦，来了，传说中的望远镜。
Are we gonna talk about binoculars? Binoculars are really cool. We don't have anything like this in the verse, and I think it will be really convenient to use something that's dedicated to look for the things, especially far away, instead of using your sniper scope, for example.
Will the binoculars have glint?
I'm not aware of this one. Probably not, because... I'm not aware of this one. Probably not, because binoculars are not something that you need to be aware of.
It's really funny because obviously, due to glint gate, as you know, I beautifully call it, basically there was a lot of community feedback basically saying like, oh, I really like spotting people. I really like playing a spotter. And essentially I was like, oh, this community wants to be able to spot people from distances. And what can we make gadget-wise that doesn't require new features? And it was like binoculars. And I prototyped a thing which essentially was just a scope in a hand, and it worked. So we've got some really cool binoculars coming that allow you to spot people from distances.
And how much damage do the binoculars do?
Depends on how you throw them.
Thanks, Alexei and Zach. That's the end of this segment for this year. So that's talking ship and weapons, unless anyone else is going to come and tell me something else. It's been an exciting year, and I think the next year of ships is going to be even more exciting and expansive than this year.
Right now, there's going to be a PTU drop that includes all 3. So you can fly them now ahead of them. There's going to be a PTU drop that includes all 3. So you can any of those live. 3 combat ships. I want 432. I am now ahead of their release next week when Alpha 432 goes live. 3 combat ships. I wonder if they'll have any additional uses coming up later in the show. That's a hint. All right, any additional uses coming. 3 combat ships. I wonder if they'll have any additional uses coming up later in the show. That's a hint. All right, what else can I show? Oh, there's merch. Lebsky desk mat things. These are always popular.
你看阴仙哎，各位。
Oh, there's merch. We've got these cool new Lebsky desk
还有这是暗示吗？我们该不会下个礼拜就可以开阴仙吧
？Always popular.
你看那个是阴仙，今天看到有人贴那张图，这是阴仙。
There's some Lebsky metal posters on the store, and of course, love them or hate them, but you can't avoid them. There's this cool new Wickelo's Emporium T-shirt. Yeah. There's also a page published earlier today with a bunch of links to offerings from our third-party partners, from iTrack, Planet, coins around the world. There's these Hey, I gotta be. Lunch here early enough. Over here, we got some cool mannequins representing different aspects of the game. You got the ever-present, Hurston Secure. You got this guy, cool. Barrier, come over here, shoot it. Go down the nose here. Watch this.
可以把这个带搬回家吗？我想把这个带回家哎。哇，还有内装哦！我靠。
Hi, Mom. All right. So yeah, and what are you doing, Richard Towler? All right. I thought John went to Washington D.C. Let's see, what else we got? We got cool Voyager bar here. This is where we get all kinds of University of 2016, where everybody took to Reddit and pondered the question: do devs deserve coffee? I do. Welcome to the Stargarita machine. Yeah.
哇，冰沙机哦！然后这是怎样？这是在暗示我们 SC 也有冰沙机了吗
？Frozen deliciousness? I don't know. Go to Reddit and let us know. All right, let's see. Let's go. Competition winners. We have the list of competition winners. Can we put that on the screen? Yeah, sorry, competition winners. Remember the competition for the CitizenCon winners? The people made the videos, and we gave them a Kruger L21 Wolf. We actually have the names. They're behind me. Look. All right, that's cool. Also, everybody's got food. Do I have food here? Oh, somebody's supposed to save me pizza. All right, so we got. Oh, you guys saved me a lot of pizza. Let's see, there's like 3 different kinds of pizza here. What if we just combine them into like a challenger situation?
这是暗示我们之后可以吃披萨的吗？ 我觉得他现在在各种暗示。
So I have now crafted my own pizza experience, and that is a terrible segue into our next segment. Gemma, can we segment while
Star can spawn shape pot under everything in the
First version of crafting is going to be quite small in scale. We're going to use it as a kind of a concentrated effort to allow the players to experience the initial UI, the flow of gathering materials that have different quality, and using those to craft items which are better than what they have currently in the game.
The first version is going to be primarily FPS items that you can craft, weapons and armor. For Star Citizen, crafting is our primary progression mechanic. Star Citizen isn't your standard MMO. We don't have levels. We have ships. We have gear. We have things that you create in the world, you perfect, you research, you improve. And those items, those ships, those vehicles, the armor and weapons, that's how you progress in Star Citizen. Crafting isn't just a progression mechanic for creating new items. It's also a fundamental change to how we handle resources in the game. The materials that you collect, how you refine them, quality matters.
Crafting the weapons, you'll be able to have some quality materials to influence the item stats on those weapons.
It'll be somewhat random, potentially weighted on the location of the material. Some will have potentially weighted on the location of the material. Some will have a higher chance of higher quality. And once you take those materials to your crafting bench, the fabricator, you can use them to craft, and the different attributes will be increased based on the quality of the materials you use. It's not just iron ore anymore, it's iron ore of the quality that you know will get you the stats for the item that you desire. And it's not just mining, it's essentially every resource we can get our hands on.
To support this, we also need major changes to inventory so that all of these new resources that you're collecting, you can see what you have, you can order it better, you can understand what you have in your inventory.
We won't have the new refining crafting system yet. We'll be using the existing ones. Those will the new refining crafting system yet. We'll be using the existing ones. Those will pass the quality through into the refined materials, which you can then take to your crafting machine and start making your personal items. Once you have your blueprint and your quality materials that you've refined, then you can put them together on the item fabricator. This will be pretty much what we showed in last year's CitizenCon, with the UI letting you assign your quality resources to different aspects of the item. Once you're happy with what you see on the preview, you'll be able to click to craft, and it'll get queued up, and your result will be produced sometime later. You'll be able to get the new crafting machine from shops in most landing zones. You'll be able to bring it up on your freight elevator and use it in your personal hangar, or tractor beam it around and stick it on a ship if you want to use it from there.
There'll be a small amount of blueprints you get credited to your account just to test and mess around, but the vast majority of them will be earned through missions, and then you can use that blueprint to craft the item that it is that you've got the blueprint for. So it should be a good reason to go and test all the different various missions in the game.
The advantage of crafting your own items is that they'll be better than anything that you could buy from shops. You'll be able to increase and improve item stats that are relevant to your gameplay. Maybe a gun will shoot faster, maybe it'll do some more damage, or your armor will have greater resistances against environmental effects or incoming fire. You might be wondering, what about the upgrade and research? That will be coming in a subsequent release. We're happy with this initial scope for crafting.
It's going to be so valuable for us as devs to kind of get the metrics in, get the feedback in, because then we can make the changes that, you know, they only become obvious, so to speak, when you have kind of mass amounts of data and mass amounts of users using it. So I'm very excited to get it out in the wild.
It's our intention to get crafting out on tech preview by the end of the year and get the testing we need so we can.
So that's one way. What about in there, specifically Tin? We're bringing in, tell you a little bit more. We're bringing instancing to Star Citizen in 2026. Why are we doing it, and how will it work? So if you've played any content in 2025 in Star Citizen, you know that most of these areas were in actual PvP zones where other players could interfere. Instancing is a means to create an environment where designers can create tailored content that's tuned to a specific group size, but it is also protected from outside interference. It's not to say that we don't love PvP. I'm a PvP guy. PvP me, bro. But like most MMOs, a good balance between a dangerous overworld and a protected instances is needed. Right now, we don't have this ability, and this is something we really need in order to give you a sense of progression that is tailored and balanced to a tunable amount of groups, so the difficulty matches the group size. There's a beginning and an end. It doesn't mean that that doesn't fit in our overworld strategy, meaning getting to the instance is dangerous, exiting the instance is dangerous, or can be interfered with others. But at least when you're playing the content, we can actually make something that's curated for one experience. So before anybody says this is only a PvE thing, this technology can also be applied to unlock curated PvP experiences that are as seamless as the PvE ones. So it's not about one thing or the other. It's really about unlocking developers' ability to create curated content. So that said, how will it work? Instancing is really an evolution over static to dynamic meshing. We want your instances to be as seamless as your instance hangars, meaning that when you take an elevator, you exit the elevator, you're inside the instance. A gateway opens, you cross that gateway, you're now in the instance. Could be also a quantum jump into an instance that you don't even see. The transition is just like a dynamic mesh transition. And so throughout the universe, we will be able to add these areas that are open or closed instances that allow you to join in either with a party and have a reserved instance for your party. So some of those areas will be completely instanced on different servers. This allows us to leverage the compute power of the entire mesh. The closed one, just like each of Arzen,
find
out what one of our first instances will do with your instance hangars currently. Let's go and find out what one of our first instances will be. Siege of Arzen was an event we did previously, which created a gameplay scenario where the player had to run through and progress through. Contended a gameplay scenario where the player had to run through and progress.
我没看过天桥这么火力的速度。
Contested islands of origin. This was a high-paced, high-intensity event, but it struggled a little bit from its technical execution. But now with the introduction of instancing, it gives us an opportunity to evolve it and modify it and make it better for you and a small group to work through that activity.
It is an event that I had the honor of pretty much solely designing and building all of the logic and having the stress of trying to get it working.
Agent Dooley from the CDF puts the call out for volunteers because basically the Nine Tails have taken over sort of a cluster of floating platforms in Orison.
And you are there to kill these sort of lieutenants of this terrorist organization and take back control. So in our current thinking, Siege of Orison is designed for about 15 to 20 people fire team. So you, your friends, or your org will go in, you'll all have sort of dedicated roles. Some of you might be the tank who brings in the heavy weapons and sort of pulls the fire. Some of you might sit at the back and be the sniper and pick people off who are a bit further to make the advance easier. Some of you will be the medic who sole job is going to be revive and look after the rest of your team and the health of them. And some of you will be the people who push for the objectives to try and get sort of most of the mission done. The event was designed for about 15 to 30 people, but when we released it, we fixed the problem with 2 DGSs on one server that was fighting for resources. And with that, we also upped the player count to 100. So when it first debuted, it was already too full for what it was designed for.
It was a massive operation at the time. I think that bringing it back and giving it a refresher will be a fantastic addition back into the PU.
So imagine if Siege was an instance that you could go in and play solo, or if it was a public event that you could go with your friends, or you could join up with random players on the server. There's lots of ways that we want to take a look at Siege, how we can make it a more approachable piece of content.
I'm excited, to say the least, to bring back Siege of Orison to Star Citizen and to sort of have it be one of the first tests that we have for instancing and really get it back to sort of a core experience point where it should be. So while the next season is quite heavily focused on Nyx, I'm also very happy that we're not really ignoring our other 2 systems of Stanton and Pyro, and we're going back there and we're sort of improving and expanding on the player's life in those 2 systems as well.
Yes, and while things like Genesis, interstellar hauling, crafting, Siege of Orison, and more will reveal next year, we'll continue to bring life into the existing universe outside of Nyx. There's still one more exciting use for instancing we're building right now. It's an earlier look than normal, and some of it is still in white box, but we're excited to share the first look at a major content release of 2026, and what it means for progression-based gameplay. As an evolution of our Building Interior initiative, you won't discover it by accident, because when it's complete, it will be found deep within the heart of Levski itself. This is the Municipal Works. So inside the facility, you'll find huge vaporization chambers, old processing plants, industrial tunnels, and eventually into the old turbines which are still pumping heat into the old rock.
So this is the true history of Levski. This is a place where you won't see in Lorville, you won't see in I-18 or the other landing zone. It's the pure basis of Levski. You will have, of course, metal and tunnels and more structural place, but you will also see a lot of rock and cave. So it's not a place you go to take vacation. It's really a place you go to fix stuff.
Not everybody has what it takes to come down there and do the job that needs to be done.
All of your sewage systems have stopped working. Everything's going to quite literally. And so the player is tasked with their group, most likely, to go into there, take out the outlaws and get the facility working again.
So let me get this straight. This is literally a mission to fix the toilets of Levski.
It's not just you have
mission.
Polluted air because it's not being cleared properly. It's not just for the toilet.
It's mission-driven, investigate, and repeatable. everything from mining to salvage to combat to investigation, a variety of roles. Narratively, it's a real sandbox. Every progression you do will unlock a new area that will link back to previous areas, complexifying the play space.
We've been wanting to have more gameplay around landing zones for a long time. Now that we have instancing tech coming online, that allows us to do something that provides really cool gameplay close to a landing zone.
With the missions, that's what will create different overlays or change the spaces or change the progression to you, and then
allow you're not going to way of improve games as well.
Developers sandbox.
Almost. Throw it back to me, and I've got one more for you after this.
Back to you, Jared.
我们稍微跳一下。
Earlier in the show, on the we're not going to X. I'm not wearing.
那个扁度，我要看那扁度。
In the dark at their computers, like little goblins. They just make digital virtual worlds like this. And then I come in all happy and like, hey, you want to be on video? And they're like, no.
Feel your passion from here.
Cut the camera. Revealed our plan for 1.0. Last year, Senior Game Director Rich Tyrer took to the stage and revealed our plan for 1.0. Now, before we end this year's CitizenCon Direct, we wanted to take a few moments and follow up on that reveal from last year, to do as we've done today and look at the year ahead. So, Rich, thanks for taking the time to join us.
Well, you're welcome.
All right, so we're going to jump right into it. Everybody knows the only constant in game development is change, so I'm going to ask you outright.
Since our North Star, that goal. Busy working towards that goal in the background, and every patch this year has moved us towards that goal. And if you haven't watched the StarCitizen 1.0 presentation from last year, I highly recommend you do so, because everything in it is still relevant as of today.
You mentioned every patch this year has moved us towards that goal, so I want to dig deeper into that. We've done, at this point, 9 releases in this year, more than any year prior. How does each one of these not just sit as their own moment in time, but move us forward on this road to 1.0?
Well, last year I discussed the framework of 1.0, how all those complex systems can tie together. And one of the core, all of the areas, all the previous, but and then they've been moved away. And I think with the addition of the patches this year, when you look at you think about this go and be part.
You said nothing changed, but I want to ask you about this specifically.
And you can get about dynamic thing where if we'd have made a game that was all instant, and then I'd come on camera and said, hey guys, we're going to start doing it open world. Details on that.
这个。
During that time, we've created lots of gameplay systems. We've added purposes. Combat, being able to do is fight other combat ships. In 2026, this changes. We're going to be delivering a spaceship-focused activity space which incentivizes the use of different gameplay roles. These are going to be scenarios where you're going to have to plan and strategize and create operational tactics to overcome your objective. So what you're going to see is very early. It's early in the pipeline process, and it's going to come online about mid next year. But we're really excited.
明年年中上线，那十之八九是 ILW 的时候了。
Excited about the content we're creating.
那感觉是 ILW 的时候，
So we want to share with you a super early look at what we're building in a space we're calling Tactical Strike Groups.
战术打击。哎，等一下，哦，没有，这是旧的皮，或是新的皮耶，吓死我！
The People's Alliance are still trying to get to the bottom of what this new faction is really doing in the Nyx system.
They've sent a capital ship to check out a station and run into more than they can take care of themselves.
Unfortunately, that team came under attack and members of their groups were taken hostage. Now they've reached out to Intersect, who've reached out to you to help recover the pilot. Of course, it's unwise to do this alone, so you'll need to put a team together to attack the station.
When you arrive, you will have this big asteroid, kind of broken asteroid, and on this you will have this space where you will find 3 big arms. You will see at the middle, you will have this big energy core. Everything here has a purpose. It's not just for the show, just something nice to see.
you'll see a People's Alliance-owned Idris that's just on the outside, and it's going to be getting harassed by this unknown faction that you've met before.
So your first objective here is to clear out the ships. There'll be waves of these ships, so this is where you want your light or your medium or your heavy fighters, whichever playstyle you prefer.
So while one part of your group is dealing with the fighters, now it's time to actually assault the station.
This station has been outfitted to resist all of the obvious way of attacks.
Somehow they've incorporated Vandal capital ship killing turrets. These turrets ignore small fighters, and they have the firepower to destroy even the biggest capital.
这个就是那个之前拿来切一决神那个吧，没记错的话。
Ships.
哇，那北极星要掰了。
Your Polaris.
他都能把一局切掉，那个连北极星
get
铁
it
定扛
close,
不住。
it will get shredded. The idea of these is so we can sort of make it so we can mix up that ship combat, and not everyone can just bring the biggest ship and win just because they have the biggest ship. The idea, your Polaris and your Idris, if you get it close, it will get shredded. Your Polaris and your Idris, if you get it close, it will get shredded. The idea of these is so we can sort of make it so we can mix up that ship combat, and not everyone can just bring the biggest ship and win just because they have the biggest ship.
北极星要掰了，哦，真不愧是能把一局切的一个。
You have to send out your best pilots to navigate the superstructure and
对啊。
and take down anything that may damage your bigger ships.
当我们主力在吸火力的时候，我们这些战斗机就要把那些摧毁掉。
So at this point, you're thinking destroy the turrets, but it's not that easy. This turret has shields that you've never seen before. It won't take any kind of damage. Your missiles won't do anything. Your lasers won't do anything. Your ballistic, any kind of damage.
他该不会是把完成的护盾拿来用吧？
Has shields
那
that
种
you've
印
never
度应该
seen
是完
before.
成的印度了。
It won't take
但是不是也是
any
把
kind
完
of
成的护
damage.
盾给关掉？
Your
他们才
missiles
是
won't do anything. Your lasers
这应
won't
该
do
是这个原
anything.
因啊。
Your ballistics won't do anything to them. But like everything, they do have a weakness. You have to cut the power to their shields.
啊，
To
这
do
是打完
that,
船用的
that
玩
actually
法。
brings you to your first objective, the power relays.
完船
So
也是
the
把他的
exterior has a
护盾
number
打
of
爆
power relays that are holding the doors closed so that you can't get in.
You have to find them, you have to target them, and you have to destroy them. But it may not be as easy as it seems.
Here's our first wrinkle. The power relays have their own shields that are resistant to energy-based attacks.
We know how much you like using laser repeaters, but so do these guys.
要用实弹的。
Capital ship can't get close enough because of the turrets.
So ships with explosive or ballistic ordnance
对，它
will be
主打
needed
主
here.
力舰的。
That's torpedo ships like your Retaliator or Gladiator, or even another fighter with ballistics loadout. That's going to take you a while.
啊，只能有鱼雷吗？
That's torpedo ships. So ships with explosive or ballistic ordnance will be needed here.
啊，真的
That's
只能有鱼
torpedo
雷。
ships
我
like
靠
your Retaliator or Gladiator, or even another fighter with
还要
ballistics
带鱼雷
loadout.
哦。
That's going to take you a while.
他这护盾也太硬了吧！
Once the power relays have been taken down, the station opens up.
And this is where
Once the power relays have been taken down, the station opens up.
And this is where things get really cool.
Now it's time for you to fly your ship inside the station.
Yeah, you, in your ship, fly into the superstructure of this station.
How cool is that? I feel like this is a proud dad moment.
那这飞进去哦，比 Think 现
I'm
在
just going to call
送
it
到
what
墙
it
壁
is.
爆炸。
It's a trench run.
我已经看到了。那我现在已经可以想象得到，就是当玩家我们飞进去的时候，因为你自己可能碰到墙壁然后爆炸这件事。
So as you enter the structure, you'll see cooling units along the sides that you'll need to take out. There's 3 arms to the station that have these trenches. You'll
这
fly
怎么
into
飞啊？
one
我
and
觉得好
then
难
you'll
飞
go
哦
to the center, and then you'll leave
要
out
飞一
another
飞，然后撞到墙壁爆炸。
You're either gonna do it multiple times, or you need to bring friends.
At this point, the core is still protected, so these are essentially strafing runs.
There are objects to avoid. You're going to have to be able to dodge. You're going to have to move quickly. You need an agile ship.
你知道吗？我玩这实际操作，可能碰一碰就撞在里面爆炸，
Because
知道
the
吗？
shield generator that you're targeting is emitting lots of distortion damage.
So once the cooling units are out, that exposes the core to overheat, which means that you can attack it from the inside and also from exhaust ports on the outside of the station. This core is armored and just takes a whole lot of damage. This core is armored and just takes.
这竟然没爆炸，我不相信。
Once the power core goes down, the turrets come down, and then the capital ships can get closer. Why is that important? Because during all of this, you spend a lot of ammo and munitions and ballistics, and you're going to want to top up.
This is where we're going to get our new feature in: ship hangar refueling and rearming. You're going to be able to land in the hangar of select ships. Our new feature.
Ammo and munitions.
可以先找几本他们飞出来。
And ballistics, and you're going to want to top up.
This is where we're going to get our new feature in: ship hangar refueling and rearming.
终于开了机库，补弹药，加油
You're
了
going to be able to land in the hangar of select ships and be able to use the same interface as you are right now at stations to refuel and rearm.
It's specifically for ships like the Idris and the Polaris and other ships that are designed to have other ships land inside them.
Of course, it'll be more than just those two ships, and you'll find out more once we get closer to release. But this is a really important feature that we're really excited to get out.
If you're not bringing your own Idris, the People's Alliance has an Idris there that can provide a safe port in a storm, allow you to set back up and head back out.
And it's a good thing that you rearm and refuel too, because now another group of ships is coming to attack the People's Alliance Idris.
哦，那以后一局是很有用的，那飞机。
So while the fighters are protecting the Idris, what's happening at the station? Well, that's where the dropships come in.
Now you've got to take a fire team in. You've got to land. You've got to fight through an onslaught of FPS enemies that belong to this unknown faction, and you've got to open a hangar door which will allow you to release captives from. And you've got to open a hangar door which will allow you to release captives from the station.
我好惨，搞不好连那个叫什么工程师玩法，就是维修那些，搞不好会死。
After you've opened the doors and that person's taken off, you've just got to make sure they get to safety.
他们要怎么维修？这个材料。
So at this point, all of this sounds pretty simple, but there's an additional complication.
So up until this point, it's just been you versus the enemies in the station. But the enemies in the station have their own enemies.
The Vanduul neighbors who really don't like these guys for some reason will come in and wreak havoc on everything.
And they're not going to discriminate between you and the station. They're out for blood. When you alert the Vanduul by destroying the power core that the station's now vulnerable.
哦，发出警报。
You're on a time limit.
感觉就是因为用了本度的科技，本度不爽，然后发现他们现在都飞过来。来了，当初被假扮人一番鱼雷掰的那艘来了。 这艘上我记得当初假扮零18把他秒了，对吧？好像这一艘吧，这一艘好像假扮0把他秒。看起来是那一艘啊，假扮0那个射一发鱼雷，那个去年是射中队那一艘。
Tactical 5, we created a variety of content. Some of it was very focused on FPS combat, so very previous.
Road for the old stuff. refueling. Hi, but Aaron Roberts. But combat missions. Hi. Online in 2026. That we're currently building out even more for those, and our first refueling mini ships and for salvage ships. And as Rich said, we're currently building out even more for those, and our first refueling missions coming online in 2026.
第一次加油任务，明年会上线。
Aaron Roberts station in place. Hesitate why we're ending the show. In any other taking the time in 2020, we ain't. So YouTube chat like, oh, you're spoiling everything. What's coming in 2026? I've seen the Twitch chat. So before we let you go, that's it for me. Thank you. Belong to our.
I hope you enjoyed everything that's space building, social progress, and many features in the near future. Of course, we're not going to spoil everything that's currently improving social and trade tools that are very in the universe will make next year the most exciting yet for Star Citizen. Much passion.
那看来明年4中队真的有可能。
Business becomes more be allowed to dream as or funded by any of the fuel in the verse. This.
好，第三看完了。好，我们就来开始 C 啦。还有时间啊，就玩一下就好。去年是饼展，今年是讲未来的明年的那个预计发展。完美。好，现在就是在开 PTU 了。我们去看 PTU 更新了什么鬼好了。其实某种意义上来说，那帕拉丁那个新的网格，你不一定要放 ESU 的箱子，像那种手持的那一种小箱子，应该也是可以放在那个位置。哦，没事，我刚以为看到只有3个而已，因为 host 被拔掉了。好，进去了。我们该不会又在机库了吧？不会吧？哦，又是在机库。哎呀，看一下。哎呀，真的耶，他真的好多船都不见了。有看到，没关系。啊，他这个没有加进来，那好吧，只能用这个了。
to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system. Your vehicle has been delivered to the police.
我们来看有什么衣服还在。啊，为什么这些都还在？啊，总比没有好啦。东西呀、它就一部分加进来了。啊，这就是传说中的帕拉丁啊！哦哦，可以呀、I like it。哦，帕拉丁，可惜因为没有皮可以用，因为那个没有完全缝不到。哇哦！good shit。哦，好啦，今天这就只是来看一下就好了。主要是我想要弄它的黑皮啊，没有黑皮就先不要开好了，我想等黑皮的时候再开。今天就只是单纯来看一下。等一下，这边有电梯呢？这不是应该有电梯吗？呀，他把这边的电梯移掉了？啊？等一下，这不是 extra large？ 哇哦，对哦，他把很多船都移掉，所以我这边不会有 extra large， 难怪。大概看个一眼就好了。好，先就这样了，先休息，看个一眼。我还以为我能成功把他那个黑皮复制进来，结果没有。我们要的皮没有进来呀。啊？没有，就提莫吉的感觉嘛。就像那个，你知道吗？我现在有那个 A1 的黑金皮。那不是应该说E1的黑金皮，就是雪碧系列黑金皮。我现在到现在还没有用过那个黑金皮过，因为我要等E1出来再用那个黑金皮，这是一种坚持。你知道我到现在都没有用过那个黑金皮过，那个雪碧系列那张皮我就现在留给E1的时候才开的。然后这个帕拉丁，我想开那个黑皮来开，就是提莫吉的那个仪式感，有点没有那个仪式感的感觉，所以就先不用。主要是衣服我也不太喜欢这一点，这感觉有点很像那种模型感嘛，就很像那种卡通感的感觉，就不知道怎么讲，就不太喜欢这种风格。但是就免费的嘛，反正我们缺乏仪式感，所以这个等看嘛，搞不好明天就会修嘛，反正就不急，对吧？好，现在先到这边，先休息，拜拜。仪式感万岁！